America here on AM 1230 WJOB and 104.7 FM. I do a little national news before I turn into just doing my morning radio show of local stuff here in Hammond, Indiana, right along Indianapolis Boulevard. So we're on 6 places. You're on AM and FM, you're on the TuneIn app, and then you're on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And more people are going to Twitter. I'm surprised at that, but it is. We started on Facebook, and hey, here we go. The peeping's already starting. Nice minivan. I bet when you were younger, you wanted to grow up and said, hey man, when I grow up, I'm gonna drive around in a minivan. And he's all smiles about it too. I drove a minivan forever, and if I had my druthers, I would continue to drive one. Just for the practicality involved, you know what I mean? Waste Management just went by. There goes the city of Hammond. Hey, let's talk about what's going on the national scene. So that's what I do here in the morning, kind of from 5:35 until, I don't know, 5:50 or so, and then I go inside. But it's been pretty rainy here in the Midwest, and that is quite the break from where it has been. And it's been it hasn't rained in a few days, and we had some pretty warm weather. Yesterday got into 80, and the day before it got up to 80, and both of those are, I think it was 207 days since the last 80-degree weather. Food bank today has a big ordeal. That's why I got a suit coat on. And I'll be out there today in Gary. Well, I think it's in Maryville now. At the NWI Food Bank. And I'll learn all about it. I don't know that much about the food bank. I've hosted a couple of their breakfasts over here around the clock, and I've done some other stuff, but I don't know that much about it. I'm going to go to the grand opening of a new location, and that'll be going on today. Let's talk about Donald Trump. It just doesn't slow down, you know what I mean? And because it doesn't slow down, I'm going to take a swig of my latte right now. Watching Donald Trump yesterday and kind of flicking back and forth, and not Donald Trump, but CNN, I almost spit out, I got this big bag of Chicago White Sox peanuts, and I was eating them. Wife wasn't around, she won't stand for that. And I'm watching Hannity, and then I'm switching back and I watch a little CNN, and then I'll switch around and look at a little NBA Finals. By the way, it doesn't get any better than it is right now. There's some amazing series going on. It's actually even better than hockey right now. So, Rudy Giuliani comes on the air and says something that is, I don't know if it was planned or if he just messed up, but it sounds like it was planned. And, you know, I'm listening to Michael Caputo. You know who that is? He used to work for the state Republicans in New York, and then he was a big Trump campaign guy. Then he actually worked out of Trump Tower. And he got subpoenaed yesterday, and so he came in and said, all right, well, this is everything that the Mueller investigation kind of asked me. And what was interesting in that, he used a fishing analogy. Whereas like the Senate and Congress, which are kind of like big political organizations, and they just really the Democrats there, it seems, just really want to take down Trump rather than really learn about the Russian collusion or not. And he said that he goes in and he talks to the Mueller investigation. Mueller's not there, it's just a bunch of FBI guys. And he says it was interesting. Hey, thanks for peeping. It's a little bit wet here, but it's still beautiful out. You too, how are you? So Caputo says the interesting thing is that it was very directed questions, almost kind of just always coming back to the Russian question. And he used the analogy of, whereas the Senate and the House are doing a large net fishing where they just throw a net out there and they just pick up whatever they can. And then the Mueller investigation is more spear fishing, and you could tell that they're heading at something. They want something. They think they have something. And I was listening to Caputo, and then around, you know, all of a sudden the shift changes, and I get all these tweets. And Rudy Giuliani, now, Jimmy, can you find this? He's looking for the Rudy Giuliani thing where he says basically that Donald Trump did pay Michael Cohen, his attorney, repay him for the hush money to Stormy Daniels. You can't make this up. You have a porn star. Quite frankly, when I was single, she was kind of like right up in the alley of the type that I went after. So, you know, does that make Donald Trump a worse person in my world that he may have had an affair with Stormy Daniels? I know everybody's got their own definition of morality, but, you know, no, not really. Not at all, as a matter of fact. But I'm just a white American male. Hey, what are you doing? Why are you driving around with a cop light on the front? Oh, you're a cop. All right, sorry. So it looks as if the story has now changed, where Trump denied having an affair with her and then denied knowing anything about paying Michael Cohen, and that he just did it on his own. Am I on? Hey, Jimmy's giving me the thumbs up. Jimmy's having a good day. What the hell does that mean? Anyways, he's got Rudy Giuliani. So the story changed from deny everything, which is really how it's going these days, is you just deny everything, right? And then everybody kind of believes you because we live in the land of no truth. It's really changed from like, let's have this seeking of the truth to like, let's just kind of believe the stories that come along. And I don't mean that just at Trump. I think it's in general. I mean, even here locally, Jackie Sutton and all of the sheriff's race has a bit of Trumpism in it. But, so, Giuliani, did he open up the president to some possible legal problems? I don't know about that. But here's the newest narrative. Trump either had an affair with Stormy Daniels or he didn't. We haven't had an admittal of that. Admittal? No, that's acquittal. Admittance of that. Hey, thanks for beeping. So he does or he doesn't. And then, but Michael Cohen pays off the woman, so she'll be quiet right ahead of the election, because not everybody's like me and is like, hey man, you had an affair with a porn star who looks coincidentally like a gal I used to date a long time ago. But anyways, so he doesn't want that out, so Cohen pays his hush money. So now it becomes, when did Donald Trump know, and when did he pay Cohen back? So now it wasn't an illegal campaign donation from Cohen. So it has really kind of just thrown everything up on its side, the Stormy Daniels investigation. And let's look at Rudy Giuliani right now. By the way, it almost looks like he's getting old and he doesn't know what he's doing, but to me he's like stupid like a fox. Let's see it right now here on AM 1230 WJLB on 104.7. Having
something to do with $130,000, I mean, which is going to turn out to be perfectly legal. That money is not campaign money. Sorry, I'm giving you a fact now that you don't know. It's not campaign money. No campaign finance violation. So
they funneled it through a law firm.
Funneled through a law firm, and the president repaid it.
Oh, I didn't know he did.
Yeah. When I heard Cohen's retainer of $35,000 when he was doing no work for the president, I said, well, that's how he's repaying. That's how he's repaying it, with a little profit and a little margin for paying taxes for Michael.
The president, but do you know the president didn't?
Well, there you go. That is quite the revelation. And so what it sounds like to me, and just didn't get that much time to do that much research, just listening to some of the pundits, and I agree with this analysis. It sounds like they brought in Giuliani. By the way, they got rid of Ty Cobb yesterday, or Ty Cobb left the legal team. Rudy Giuliani taking a much more active stance here. Looks as if he comes in and says, well, you didn't really repay it. Well, look at, what's this retainer about? Oh, I just put him on retainer. He may not have been doing anything. And then he's like, well, there's the repayment. You had him on retainer, he's already getting money, no problem. So I don't know what's going to happen. It was just, I think really what it comes down to is, then you got to admit that Donald Trump actually kind of knew about the hush money. And then you got to go back to the election. You remember going into the election, it was very close. And if Stormy Daniels had come and said, hey, you know what, I had an affair with Donald Trump while his wife was pregnant, he probably would have lost the election. So it was $130,000 well placed because it got Donald Trump elected. But what else? I think pretty much in America, at least here in middle America, what will happen is many of the people who have always been Trump supporters, I know my dad, I know he'll go, who cares? And so we'll, have most of the many deep Trump supporters, who cares? They paid off a woman right into the election. No big deal. Who cares? He won't admit that he had the affair, but we know he did, but who cares? I mean, really, when Donald Trump said that he could shoot someone and probably get away with it, he might be right, because nobody cares. Anyways, there it is. JED in America standing out here. The Rudy Giuliani bombshell dropped last night. Also, something else dropped from the sky yesterday. Very sad situation in Georgia. It's a Puerto Rican, I think, a National Guard plane that had a number of people on it. I've seen 9 and I've seen 7. So let's go with hopefully 7 people on board. And there's no reports of any survivors. And you may have seen the video already as the plane lifted off from Georgia on its way to Phoenix or to Arizona somewhere, and just went up and then went down. And the pilot is being labeled a hero for perhaps evading hitting a gas station or for hitting a clump of cars that were in a traffic snarl on Route 21 in Georgia. And he was able to hit an open area of pavement, and the fireball that ensued was caught on a surveillance camera, hey, what's up? On a security camera. So that is 3 military aviation mishaps in about a month. I think one was two planes and 1 helicopter, if I'm not mistaken. So just kind of a sad moment there. Speaking of aviation, you know what? I'm flying on Southwest on Tuesday to New York City for a streaming video conference, believe it or not. I got my daughter lives there, so I got a place to stay. They give me a little break on the thing, so they're letting the local radio guy come out for a. I went 2 years ago and stayed in a hotel for 2 nights and didn't get a discount. And that whole thing was like $3,200. I think I got it down to about $800 on the whole trip, including meals. So anyways, I'm going to that, and I'm flying Southwest, so I don't know. I guess I know their bookings are down, but I still have faith. How's that sound? A Southwest Airlines flight headed from Chicago to Newark on Wednesday morning was diverted to Cleveland for maintenance after an aircraft window apparently developed a crack in mid-flight. The crew made the decision to divert due to a potential crack to the outer pane of a window. The flight landed in Cleveland a little more than an hour after leaving Chicago's Midway Airport. Passengers said they heard a loud pop and saw a jagged crack in a window. And now they fly only 737s. I didn't know that. I thought they had some of the old ones, but I guess not. Although 737s are old at this point. The aircraft landed uneventfully and maintained pressurization because each window has multiple layers. All right, there it is. Let's take a look at where the markets are. Hey, how about oil up over $67 a barrel? I think it went up there for a little bit yesterday, and this morning it's up $2 again, so about 68 bucks on NYMEX crude. The S&P was down about 0.7% yesterday. Got a little bit of a pop this morning on the S&P and the Dow, coming back a little bit. Just concerns about interest rates, and is the Fed going to raise them, and are they not going to raise them, or are they not doing it quickly enough, depending on where you stand. I was listening to a number of opinions on this. The interest rate of pundits. As you guys well know, if you listen to the radio station, I traded interest rate futures for 18 years at the Board of Trade. And if there was one thing I learned about interest rates and how they affect the stock market and where interest rates are going, It's this. This is everything I learned about interest rates. The other day, my sister was looking at one of our loans, and she's like, "Well, maybe we should refinance at a lower rate because interest rates are going up." And I'm like, "Really, Nostradamus? You know that? Hi, how are you?" Wow, this guy just stopped and he's doing his hazard lights right in front of me, and he doesn't have a license plate. He must have lost his license plate. Oh, that's kind of weird. Hazards, no license plate, just parked right in front of me in a minivan. I'm not worried, are you? Anyways, if you're gonna try to pick the direction of interest rates, that's like picking the direction of the stock market. The one thing I learned about all of that is work your ass off and save your money. And here's what you could do. You could invest in yourself. You could invest in real estate. You could go to the casino. Or you could give all of your money to money managers who take it out of the region and give it to large companies. Now, what is the bet there if you're doing that? The bet is that you're taking your money and you're going to give it to people who have gone to school and are educated and have experience, and they're going to know how to manage companies and introduce new products and services that will, on the whole, give you about 7% over many years. And that has somewhat proven. I don't know why that is the standard line, other than there's this whole industry of people that have convinced other people to give their money away out of their home areas and send it to New York City and just let it sit on Wall Street. But that's how it is. There are other folks that will just invest in themselves and will stay away from the markets. Now, I got to tell you, I've been thinking about this for a while, and it has always kind of befuddled me. Big truck! Safety clean big truck. Slow down, big truck. Thanks for beeping. It has always befuddled me why there wasn't more literature on an interesting phenomenon that I lived and am, and that is called trading addiction. That is basically when your life starts to degrade because you can't stop trading and winning or losing doesn't matter anymore. How's that? Not everybody's, some people are just bad traders or just really like it. But also some people, hey, big truck, Bowman, big truck. Man, they're all over the place right now. Some people have trading addiction, and people ask me all the time, hey man, you still trading? And especially people who knew me while I traded, they're like, I can't believe that you stopped. Well, I did because I don't stop once I start. And I saw that out of Germany, they have now basically determined it to be a sort of affliction. And that is a good thing because there's a lot of people that have it. I mean, you could have it in the pits like I had it, but it wasn't just the pits. I would come home and then I had computers installed, but before that I would just call and trade on the phone all day. We'd go on vacation and I would still trade the whole time. And then I would trade all day and then I'd have something to eat or get a massage and then go back and trade the night session at the Board of Trade, and then on the way home I'd be on the phone putting more trades on and then get a couple calls during the middle of the night and then get up and do it again. It was just, it never stopped. And but now I see that there's a number of folks that are actually considering that. And part of the reason that they're considering trading an addiction is that trading has filtered out into many homes. And there's people driving around right now that are wondering about their Disney stock. You know what I mean? And you can actually get these addictions that are filtering into the home where guys just can't stop trading and they're only thinking about that. And then they might start losing money and then they're doubling up and then they have to make back the money they lost. The number one thing that is difficult is if you get into trading and you make some money right off the bat. Because then you're always trying to get that dopamine high. And they're really comparing it to the dopamine high that you get when you gamble. And there's a lot of similarities and there's a lot of differences. But anyways, that ought to do it. Trump, Giuliani, Stormy Daniels dominates our world purview once again. Aviation, the stock market, oil, But right here on Indianapolis Boulevard at the Strachan Van Til Studios, I want to thank the Ironworkers Local 395 for letting me stand out here. It's not raining anymore. It rained like hell overnight. And it's just a beautiful, clean morning. Can't see the sunrise because it's going to be cloudy all day. But at least it's not 25 degrees as it was a week and a half ago when I was standing out here. All right, guys, AM 1230, WJOB 104.7 FM. Also, streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and in audio on the TuneIn app. I'm Jim Delo, the voice and face of the region.